Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Sunday, July 19th, 2026, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside is expected to be quite warm today with a high of 93.5 degrees and a low of 69.8 degrees. Since it will be feeling pretty hot out there, make sure you are staying hydrated and perhaps finding some shade if you plan on spending time outdoors. In this episode, we are going to examine the reasons behind UAW President Shawn Fain's ongoing battle against a federal investigation. We will also break down the specific circumstances that led to the arrest of the Tate brothers in Miami. Plus, we have a quick roundup of other important headlines making waves this weekend. All this and much more coming up on Alex's News. Stay tuned. Good morning, everyone. There's a major storm brewing inside one of America's biggest unions. UAW President Shawn Fain is under investigation, and he's fighting back hard. Our labor reporter Ethan is here to break it all down. Ethan, good morning.
Good morning, Grace. Yes, this is a real showdown at the top of the United Auto Workers. According to AOL, which cites both the Detroit News and Bloomberg News, Fain says he's weighing his legal options right now. He's calling the accusations against him, quote, trumped-up claims, end quote, and he insists the whole thing is politically motivated.
So who's actually leading this investigation into Fain?
His name is Neil Barofsky, and he's the union's federal monitor. He comes from the law firm Jenner & Block, and the Department of Justice appointed him back in 2021. That was after years of scandals, what officials described as a culture of corruption, including previous embezzlement cases. So Barofsky's job is essentially to keep an eye on the UAW and make sure its leaders stay clean.
And now he's turned that eye on Fain himself. What exactly is he alleging?
He filed a report in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Michigan. In it, Barofsky says Fain, quote, abused the authority of his office, end quote. He also claims Fain showed what he called a recurring pattern of retaliation. That's a serious charge against a sitting union president, especially one who came in promising reform.
Retaliation against whom, specifically?
The main focus is a man named Rich Boyer, who's a vice president in the union. Barofsky concluded that Fain used, quote, exaggerated, unfounded, and unsupported reasons, end quote, to remove Boyer from leadership of the Stellantis department. So the monitor is essentially saying Fain pushed out a rival on flimsy grounds. And that's just one piece of a broader picture the report paints.
There's more. What else does the report say?
There is more, and this is where it gets personal. The report alleges preferential treatment, that Fain steered benefits toward his own inner circle. One claim is that he pressured officials to secure a workers' compensation claim for his fiancée's sister. Another is that he sought a cash bonus for non-UAW employees at the Stellantis National Training Center, including his fiancée, Keisha McConaughey.
So this has moved beyond just the monitor now, right?
That's right, and this is the part that really raises the stakes. Bloomberg News reports that the U.S. Justice Department is now investigating these claims. A federal grand jury has even issued a subpoena to the monitor. So we've gone from an internal watchdog report to a full-blown federal criminal inquiry. That's a very different level of pressure for Fain.
How is Fain responding to all of this?
He's denying everything flatly. Fain calls the allegations, quote, false, end quote, and he argues they're being weaponized against him. Remember that Rich Boyer, the man at the center of the retaliation claim, is actually running against Fain for re-election. So Fain says Boyer is using these accusations to, quote, steal the election, end quote.
That's quite a counterpunch. But he's also making a bigger argument about the monitor's motives, isn't he?
He is, and this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Fain claims the monitor is acting out of a personal and political grudge. He points specifically to what he describes as a heated 2024 International Executive Board meeting. According to Fain, that meeting got tense over Barofsky's reaction to a UAW statement, and that statement had called for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war.
So Fain is tying this investigation to the war in Gaza?
That's exactly his argument. Fain contends the monitor started digging into him because the UAW took what Fain calls an anti-war stance regarding Gaza. In other words, he's framing this as retaliation for the union speaking out on a foreign policy issue. It's a bold claim, connecting a corruption probe to Middle East politics, and it's central to how he's defending himself publicly.
Is there any evidence backing up that version of events?
This is important, Grace. The available reports do not include a transcript of that meeting. There's no leaked recording either, and they don't quote Borofsky saying anything specific about the ceasefire. So while Fain is telling that story forcefully, the public record right now doesn't confirm his account of what happened in the room. Listeners should keep that gap in mind.
What are the officials on the other side saying?
Well, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Detroit is staying tight-lipped. They've declined to confirm or deny that a DOJ investigation even exists, and they're citing official policy for that. As for the monitor, representatives for Borofsky are defending him strongly. They describe him as one of the world's most highly regarded monitors, someone who's acted with integrity and professionalism throughout.
And all of this is happening right before an election, correct?
Right, and the timing could hardly be more dramatic. Ballots for the presidential election are set to be mailed in late August, so just about a month from now. And they're going out to nearly 400,000 members and retirees. So this fight is unfolding just as those votes are about to land in mailboxes. Every accusation and every denial carries real weight for that race.
How is Fain making his case to those members?
He's leaning hard on his track record. Fain points to the record agreements the union reached with Detroit's 3 automakers back in 2023. He also highlights a historic organizing victory at Volkswagen AG in Chattanooga, Tennessee. His pitch is basically that the union has never been stronger under his leadership, and he's warning members that the union's stability itself is now at stake.
So for voters inside the UAW, this really comes down to competing stories.
It does, and that's what makes it so fascinating. On one side, you have a federal monitor and a possible DOJ investigation alleging abuse of power and favoritism. On the other, you have Fain casting himself as a reformer, being targeted for his politics and his success. Members will have to weigh those two narratives when they fill out their ballots. And with a federal grand jury involved, this story is far from over.
What should we be watching for in the weeks ahead?
Keep an eye on that late August ballot mailing, because that's the real deadline here. Watch whether the Justice Department gives any signal, though so far they're saying nothing. And watch to see if any details from that 2024 board meeting actually surface to support Fain's version. Until then, we've got serious allegations, forceful denials, and a leadership election hanging in the balance.
Really compelling stuff, and a lot still unresolved. Ethan, thank you so much for walking us through it.
My pleasure, Grace. I'll keep tracking it and bring you updates as they come.
That's our labor reporter, Ethan. Stay with us, because we've got another important story coming up right after this. Good morning. We're following breaking news out of Florida this morning involving 2 of the internet's most controversial figures. Andrew and Tristan Tate were arrested over the weekend. Our reporter Chloe has been tracking this story. Chloe, what happened?
Good morning, Grace. So this all unfolded yesterday, Saturday, July 18th, in Miami, Florida. According to reporting from ABC7, NPR, and NBC Miami, the U.S. Marshal Service took the 2 brothers into custody on a sealed warrant. Andrew is 39 and his brother Tristan is 38. A spokesperson for the Marshal Service, Brady McCarran, along with the Justice Department, confirmed the arrests were tied to extradition proceedings.
Extradition. So another country wants them?
That's right. The United Kingdom requested this under the US-UK Extradition Treaty of 2003. British authorities want the brothers sent back to face some very serious charges. We're talking about allegations involving rape and sex trafficking. And what's notable here is that this isn't a brand new investigation. The UK has been building this case for a while, and these arrests are the mechanism to actually bring the brothers across the Atlantic.
Let's talk about those charges. How many are we looking at?
It's a staggering number, Grace. According to Assistant Chief Constable Karina Thomas of the Bedfordshire Police, there are now 59 total charges against the two brothers combined. The UK Crown Prosecution Service, or CPS, announced new charges recently after receiving a file of evidence from Bedfordshire Police. That file related to 4 additional victims. So this case has actually grown over time, and these newest charges push the total up to that 59 figure.
Break that down for us. How does it split between the two men?
Sure. As NBC News detailed, Andrew Tate faces the bulk of it, with 42 charges. That includes 7 additional counts of rape, 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, and 3 counts of assault occasioning actual bodily harm. He also faces 19 charges relating to extreme pornography and indecent images of a child. Tristan Tate faces 17 charges, which include 2 counts of rape, 1 count of sexual assault, and 3 counts of arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation.
And when are these crimes alleged to have taken place?
The alleged offenses span a long window, Grace, between July 2010 and August 2017. So we're looking at crimes prosecutors say happened over roughly a 7-year period. And the location is significant too. These alleged crimes took place in an area north of London, which is actually where the brothers grew up. So the UK is really pursuing this on home ground, in the community where they have deep roots.
These brothers have quite a legal history already, don't they?
They really do. First, some background, they're dual US and British citizens. Back in 2016, they moved to Romania, and that's where they were arrested in 2022. Romanian authorities accuse them of human trafficking, sexual abuse, money laundering, and forming an organized criminal group. So the legal troubles we're seeing now aren't the first time they've faced these kinds of allegations.
What happened with those Romanian cases?
It's been a winding road. ABC7 and NPR report that a Bucharest court ruled in December 2024 that the first of those cases couldn't proceed to trial. The reason was legal and procedural irregularities, so it wasn't a ruling on the actual merits. However, a second trafficking case remained ongoing as of February 2025. And here's an interesting detail: the brothers eventually left Romania and returned to the United States by private jet in early 2025.
So they came back to the US, and now the UK is trying to pull them out. What are their lawyers saying?
Their attorney is Joseph McBride, and he's coming out swinging. He's denied all of the allegations. In interviews reported by NPR and ABC7, McBride characterized the UK charges as, quote, filth and slander, end quote, and he called the whole thing a, quote, political hit, end quote. He's really framing this as politically motivated, rather than a legitimate criminal case.
A political hit. What does he mean by that exactly?
His argument is about timing, Grace. McBride claims the charges were strategically timed to derail defamation lawsuits that the brothers themselves filed here in the U.S. He put it bluntly, saying, quote, America does not do Britain's political dirty work, end quote. And he expressed real confidence about the outcome, predicting the brothers would, quote, walk free, end quote, once a judge actually reviews the facts. So the defense strategy here seems to be attacking the motive behind the charges as much as the charges themselves.
For listeners who don't know these brothers, who is Andrew Tate?
So Andrew Tate first hit the mainstream back in 2016 as a contestant on the UK show Big Brother. But he was removed from that show after a video surfaced appearing to show him assaulting a woman. From there, he built an enormous online following. Even today, he maintains over 10 million followers on X. That said, he's been banned from YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram for violating their hate speech guidelines. So he's simultaneously one of the most followed and most banned figures online.
He's known for some pretty inflammatory content, isn't he?
He is, and it's central to why he's so controversial. NPR and ABC7 note that Tate is known for rhetoric suggesting victims of sexual assault bear some responsibility for the attacks against them. He's also made graphic descriptions of how he might attack women, and he's known for criticizing people who seek mental health treatment. So his public persona has drawn enormous scrutiny, particularly around how he talks about women and violence.
And how do the brothers respond to criticism of those statements?
They've been consistent on this point. The Tate brothers have denied all allegations of abuse and trafficking. When it comes to their violent or misogynistic statements specifically, they claim those comments were intended as jokes or that they were taken out of context. So their defense operates on two tracks: denying the criminal allegations outright and reframing the inflammatory public statements as misunderstood humor.
So where does this all go from here? What's next?
The immediate next step plays out in a Miami courtroom. The brothers are expected to appear in Miami's federal court early in the week of July 20th, which is essentially tomorrow and the days right after. That first appearance is really the start of the extradition process. A judge will begin working through whether the brothers can legally be sent to the United Kingdom to face those 59 charges. It could be a lengthy fight, especially given how aggressively their defense is pushing back.
And extradition cases like this can take a while, right?
They absolutely can, Grace. Extradition proceedings are rarely quick, particularly when the defense is contesting them as forcefully as McBride has signaled. Because the brothers are dual U.S. and British citizens, there are layers of legal questions to work through. And remember, they've already navigated years of proceedings in Romania. So while the arrests happened fast on that sealed warrant, the road to any actual extradition could stretch on for some time.
Chloe, thank you for walking us through all of this. We'll be watching that Miami court appearance closely this week.
Happy to, Grace. We'll keep following it and bring you updates as the case develops.
Here are some other headlines. Turning to international tensions, things are heating up in Russia. Ukrainian drones took a trip across the border on July 18, 2026, striking warehouses and an oil depot. The attack really sparked some chaos, leaving 9 people dead and more than 80 injured. It was certainly a volatile situation that left the region feeling the burn. In health news, it seems some dinner choices have left consumers feeling a bit green. U.S. health officials have traced a cyclospora contamination back to lettuce from a supplier in Mexico, which found its way into Taco Bell restaurants across 5 Midwestern states. It is a real shell of a situation for the fast food giant. Meanwhile, California-based Taylor Farms is expanding a voluntary recall of iceberg lettuce from central Mexico. This lettucey disaster involves 25 shredded lettuce and salad mix products under 8 different brand codes, shipped to 27 states, including Texas, Florida, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and New Jersey. Some shipments went out as recently as Thursday, with best buy dates reaching August 3rd. To keep things from getting any saltier, Taylor Farms has stopped sourcing from the implicated lot, and Cisco, the nation's largest food distributor, has told customers to toss those products in the bin. Moving to the track, British runner Josh Kerr has truly hit his stride. On Saturday, July 18, 2026, the 28-year-old zoomed past the competition at London Stadium during a Diamond League meeting. Kerr smashed the men's mile world record with a time of 3 minutes and 42.66 seconds, beating Hicham El Garou's long-standing record by 0.47 seconds. This victory was the crown jewel of his Project 222, which aimed for a sub-223-second race. Before a roaring crowd of 60,000, Kerr became the first Briton to hold the record since 1985 and only the 7th Briton in history to do so. He really ran circles around the history books. In other unverified reports, a major blockchain firm called Consensus may have had a glitch in its hiring process, accidentally bringing a North Korean hacker onto the payroll. Talk about a security breach from the inside. Finally, we look to the pitch as preparations for the 2026 World Cup final reach a fever pitch. The match is set for today, though the turf is receiving a mixed bag of reviews from the experts. On the bright side, meteorologists say thunderstorms are expected to wash away the wildfire smoke in the northeast, clearing the air just in time for the big game. We hope the weather doesn't rain on the parade for the fans. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Opus 4.8, Gemini Pro 3.1, Gemini Flash 3, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.